Alright, ladies and gentlemen, first video of 2021, first video in 9 months actually. I'm coming at you with my NFL mock draft for 2021. This is going to be all 32 teams, and it's going to be strictly based on what I think the teams are going to do, not what I think they should do. So, if you see things that you think is like, why the hell is that guy getting picked there? It's not what I personally think they should do. It's what I think will happen. So I'm going to try to predict as many picks as I can, basically. And we're going to go from there. Let's get it popping. Also, there's going to be no trades. I know that there's almost certainly going to be some trades in the first round. But for the sake of this video, they're very hard to predict. You know, a lot of trades in the first round are based on what happens, you know, in the first few picks. So it's very hard to predict exactly, you know, what trades will happen. But all the grades are going to be done by CBS. They're not my grades. I didn't go through and scout these guys, obviously, so I'm not grading them myself or anything. First pick is the Jaguars, obviously, and I think it's the easiest pick of the draft. Actually, I know it's the easiest pick of the draft. If you're thinking of anyone other than this guy, you're crazy. He's been the unanimous #1 pick for the past 3 years. I don't see what he's done to take, you know, to lessen that, to lower his stock. He's played fantastic his whole career. The guy's lost 3 football games. I know he's played for a really good team, but I mean, he's a generational quarterback. He's graded like an Elway coming out, like a Luck coming out, like a Manning coming out. This is one of those guys that you get every 7 years, where it's like 7-10 years, where it's like, okay, this is a surefire hit. You know, it doesn't matter what situation he gets thrown into, he's going to be such a stud. And I think this is one of those guys. Obviously, the strengths, you can read all that. I'm not going to go through that for every player, but you can read it yourself and see exactly what that means. So, first pick is Trevor Lawrence, easy. Second pick, Zach Wilson to the Jets. Obviously, he's been rising up draft boards ever since the end of the college season. I personally wouldn't pick him. I would take Fields here. I just think he's played against better competition. He's proven himself in that regard. He's played against Trevor Lawrence 2 times, and he's been the better quarterback. But enough about Fields here. Wilson is an incredible prospect. He's getting compared to guys like Mahomes. I think that's crazy. But I understand how they're talking about he can do that stuff on the run. You know, he's very ad-lib, does exactly, you know, he does randomness, almost like a Russell Wilson, in a sense. I think it's a better comparison. Very accurate passer. Obviously, we all saw the crazy throw in his pro day. So I don't think it's a bad pick, but I would take Fields. And then that goes to the Niners, obviously, who traded up, and I find it so hard to believe they traded up for anybody other than this guy. I think they would take Fields over Wilson. I think the Mac Jones stuff is a smokescreen. I think it's crazy that anybody would trade up for the next Kirk Cousins. You know, yeah, there's the off chance that he's a Brady, but I'm not seeing that really with him. I mean, the guys he played with was literally the best receiving corps of all time in college, and the rest of his team wasn't too shabby. And you remember who was coaching it, right? So, you know, I'm not high on Mac Jones. I would much rather go Fields here. Obviously, as I said, he's played against Lawrence twice. He looked like the better player both times, in my opinion. I would take him for sure. This is going to be the hardest pick of the draft to predict, because they could go anywhere. They could trade this pick very easily. If the Niners do go Mac Jones, which would be crazy to me, then they could easily just draft Fields, or they could take they could trade the pick and let someone else come up and get Fields. So there's a lot of things that could happen. If they do pick here, though, I think they go with this guy. He's a generational talent at tight end. We all know who he is. He's been rising up draft boards. And I think he's the second best pass catcher in the draft. And obviously pairing him with, you may be trading Julio Jones, so pairing him with Calvin Ridley, I like that a lot. I think that still gives you a solid passing attack, even if you trade Julio. Here we have Rashawn Slater. Now, most people are going to say Penei Sewell is going to get picked here, and I think that's entirely possible. I personally think Penei Sewell is the better prospect. I think he has higher upside, but Rashawn Slater sat out 2020 season, but this guy had great film against Chase Young and other players in the Big Ten. I think he's a stud, so I think it's entirely possible they take him. This is just me kind of trying to mix it up and do stuff that I don't really think is going to happen, but yeah, because that always happens. I mean, think about it. That always happens. The Trubisky pick, I mean, Corey Davis at 5, stuff like that. It always happens. So, all right, here we have what I think is one of the best picks of the draft. I think this is the best pass catcher in the draft. I think he's a generational talent. I think this is one of the best prospects at wide receiver I've seen, in my opinion, since Julio Jones. I think he's got everything. He played on a team with Justin Jefferson, who came into the league last year as a rookie and was a Pro Bowler. And this guy right here, JAMAR Chase, was the clear number 1. I know he sat out 2020. I really don't care. Moving on. Dolphins get a complete steal. They fleece the whole league. 7. Again, this is a pick that could get traded, but if they do draft here, I think they go DeVonta Smith. I would go DeVonta Smith. The only concern for me, it's not even about, it's just the injuries. That's the only concern. And I get how he said in that Stephen A interview on First Take, he said he was talking about, injuries don't run from anybody, and I get that. Anybody can get injured, you know what I mean? But if you're 220, 210, 215 by you're in the league like JAMAR Chase is going to be, as opposed to 175, and you take a hit over the middle, it's easier to come back from that with more weight, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think it's higher chance at worse injuries if you weigh less. So the outside of injuries, though, I think this could be the best wide receiver prospect in the draft. He's right. It's crazy. I mean, this is one of the craziest wide receiver drafts we've seen. Seriously. Here we got Penei Sewell going to the Panthers. Obviously, they need to fill the O-line. They could go receiver here, but they got DJ Moore. They have Robbie Anderson. I would protect Darnold and get Penei Sewell, especially if he falls here. We all know who he is. He also sat out 2020, but I don't think that's going to be a big concern for any of these guys. If anything, it gives them rest and less tires on their legs, less wear on their legs, on their tires. Shit, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. Anyways, at 9 we got Trey Lance. Going to the Broncos. Obviously, they need a goddamn quarterback, and I think if Lance falls to here, I don't see any way they wouldn't draft him. Only played 1 game this year. It was basically the Trey Lance show. He fucking went off, but it's not enough to see. Obviously, he is one hell of a prospect, though. Extremely athletic, a lot like Justin Fields. I don't think he's quite as accurate. I don't think he quite has the arm as Justin Fields, but I think this guy's right there, and I think it's a good pick. I don't think it's a bad pick. I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks and receivers in this draft, as we will see. All right, here we have the first corner taken, and we got the Cowboys, who desperately need secondary help, taking who I think is the best corner in the draft. Patrick Surtain, 6'2", he's got the height, 203. He'll come up and tackle guys for you. Obviously, he's incredible at man. I think he's a prototypical corner for today's league. So I think this is the easy pick for them. Giants. This was a tough one to predict. Obviously, they drafted Anthony. What's his name? Anthony Thomas last year. I can't exactly remember if that was his name. You guys know kind of who I'm talking about. He was out of Georgia. Anyways, this kid right here, Elijah Vera Tucker is the best guard in the draft, and I do think it's a decent pick to take him, and I think it's the route they're going to go. I think that's the way that Gettleman wants to build that organization. He wants to build the O-line, but it's very tempting here, I must say, to take Jalen Waddle and give Danny Dimes another weapon. You know what I mean? So it's tough. I don't know. This is basically Daniel Jones' last year to prove that he can do it, though. So what does he need more right now? A guard that you can plug in right away, or a receiver you can plug in right away? It's tough to pick. I went with the guard, though. Obviously, that means that Jalen Waddle has fallen at 12 to the Eagles. I do think, people are saying he may be better than DeVonta Smith. Some people who are crazy are saying he might even be better than JAMAR Chase. I think he's the fourth best pass catcher in this draft, behind Pitts, JAMAR, and DeVonta. He's got the blazing speed. I get all of that, but and people are comparing him to Tyreek Hill, and obviously Tyreek Hill is one of the best receivers in the league. You know where I stand with him. But the thing is, we've seen guys like this come out. John Ross, he got picked right around this point, like 14, 15. What the hell has he done? He's a speed demon. He's faster than this guy. Then you got now the difference with him is he's really good at running routes as well. So I do think he's going to have a good career, but a lot of it depends on where he lands, and I don't think he's some guy like JAMAR who's just going to come in and demand targets right away, in my opinion. So, yeah. But I do think if he falls here, this is a great pick for the Eagles. Give Hurts another weapon, see what he can do with them. All right, now you got the Chargers. Another kid that sat out, Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. He's got the same type of frame as Surtain. He'll also tackle guys. Not as good in man, but is going to get you a lot of interceptions. So I think it's a decent pick. It's the this is some of this stuff, guys. To be quite frank with you, I am guessing on. I don't fully know. None of us fully know, obviously. So this one I'm not certain on, but I do think this is the route they would go. 14, we got Micah Parsons. I think this is easily the best linebacker in the draft. And I think he's actually comparable to Devin White. If he fell to 4, this is actually him falling, in my opinion. He could get picked anywhere in the top 10, but I think he may fall a little bit just based on the quarterbacks and receivers in this draft, and the linemen, So I think he'll fall a little bit, but he's the Devin White of this draft, guys. So watch out for this kid right here. At 15, we have Rashad Bateman, which I think is a complete reach, but I do think it could entirely happen. I think the Patriots, if they don't trade up or trade back, listen, people are saying they might trade up to get a quarterback. Unless Fields falls to like 10 or 11, that's not happening, because if you look at their draft capital, they have nothing, literally. I don't even think they have a third-round pick this year, or a second-round pick. It's bad. Like, they have no draft capital. I don't see them trading up, really, and I think it's more likely they trade back, to be quite honest with you. But if they do pick here and they take someone, maybe they pick the receiver, they go Rashad Bateman. I think Rashad Bateman is a good player. I think he has a really good chance to be a solid weapon. Obviously, he's not one of the best in this draft. He's not top tier in this draft, but this is, like I said, possibly one of the best receiving drafts we've ever seen. So getting the 4th or 5th guy in that draft might not be a bad idea. Moving on. Now we got the Cardinals, and they're going to take J.C. Horn, son of Joe Horn. And I think that this is a good pick. This kid, he's very... He has... There's potential for him to get burned, but I think he reminds me a little bit of a Jalen Ramsey. He's very lengthy. He can play in the air. He's really good and physical up on the press. So I think this is a good pick. I think this fits the Cardinals. You gotta replace Pat Pete. So you've been having to do that for years, and I think he'll fit right in. Raiders get the best safety in the draft by far, and really he's one of the only good safeties in this draft. So I think that there is going to be a premium to pick him higher than where people might think. A lot of people think he could go 25, 26. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Trevon Moore will get picked around here. This guy's all over the field. This is what you want at safety. He's all over the field. This is the type. I think this is a great pick, and personally, I want the Browns to get him. I'm a Browns fan, obviously, but it's not going to happen. Dolphins. Here we've got Christian Darrisaw, left tackle out of Virginia Tech. You know, not I feel like O-line is something they should fill. If they see a better player, though, they could easily go off of this. This easily could not happen. But if he does fall here, I think they will pick him. So you know that. You know, I mean, what better to complement Tua than a new left tackle and a new star receiver? I mean, like, what else can you say? I think it fits perfectly. 19, Mac Jones. You know, all the shit I talk about Mac Jones, I still think he's a good player. I just think, you know, he's a Kirk Cousins type guy. He's an Alex Smith type guy. I mean, he's not like fucking Mahomes or Rodgers or, you know, he's not one of those dudes. So Mac Jones, he's not mobile, obviously. I mean, people understand that he's somewhat mobile. It's not like he's Brady or anything or Manning, but he's not really mobile compared to what we have in today's game. I think if he falls here, though, the Redskins will take him. You know, you've got Fitzpatrick. You can sit there for a year. I mean, damn, it's a decent pick. So I think it's what would happen. 20, we got the edge rusher out of Michigan, Kwity Paye. This kid is fucking humongous. This is a big edge rusher, and I hate Michigan, but he was one of the few good players on that team, in my opinion. Let's just say that he's a senior, so he's played. Tevin Jenkins, 21 to the Colts. This kid's huge, obviously, 320. I know I just said that about Kwity Paye, but Paye's an edge rusher. This kid at left tackle, 320, that's pushing it, you know. Obviously, the weaknesses are speed. I've heard good things about him. Obviously, he's 6'6". This dude's humongous, but I think it's not a bad option to put next to Quentin Nelson. And then you're really giving Wentz the protection that he never had last year. So I think this gives him a really good chance to see what you can do in that offense. I think it's a good pick for them. Here we have a pick. I think it's kind of a reach, man, to be honest. But I've been hearing stuff about this kid, and he's a smaller player. I think he's only about 5'9", but he's 5'9", 180. But he's fast. And he's going to be a deep threat. Rondale Moore out of Purdue. The Titans could definitely use another deep threat, and I think this is definitely something that could help as a slot receiver as well. Jets 23. We have Najee Harris. This is, I think, the best running back in the draft. From a talent perspective, I think he should be picked higher, in my opinion. I just think that team needs are the reason that he's going to get picked down here. Him and the other kid, who I'll get to soon. I think he's a stud, though, and I think the Jets, you know, here this is where you're thinking we need another playmaker. You know, we just got Zach Wilson. We either need O-line or playmaker here, and I think they go Harris. Steelers, who I fucking hate, doesn't matter because they suck. They'll be drafting Travis Etienne, and this is a really good pick for them, I think. Obviously, the O-line is in shambles right now, but so is a lot of the team. So, I mean, just take the best available player, in my opinion. And this is probably, and you know, the Steelers, they're good. They're good at drafting. I mean, I followed them for years, obviously, because I hate them. They're good at drafting, them and the Ravens. So I think they'll go Etienne here and get the best available player. Jaguars going Azeez Ojulari, edge rusher out of Georgia. This kid is based on speed, you know, and intensity. He's not as big as a Kwity Paye or whatnot, but I think it's a decent pick, and why not put something else on the line for the Jags? They need help anywhere. This pick's almost impossible to predict, to be honest with you, because they could literally go anywhere. Browns. I've got Christian Barmore, sophomore defensive tackle out of Alabama. I think this is the perfect replacement for Sheldon Richardson, who we just had to let go. I wouldn't be surprised if like a Trevon Moehrig does fall and we go there, or if a really good corner falls and we go there. But I think this is a good pick, and I wouldn't be mad if the Browns got him and we're able to fill him in. I think that really makes the D-line formidable, scary, if not formidable. I think it's a good pick. He's out of Alabama. Why not? Kadarius Toney. Now he's been getting a lot of talk. I've heard a lot of good things about him as well. Him and Rashad Bateman. I don't really know. I've only watched a few of their highlight tapes, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched these guys, but I think the Ravens obviously need a receiver, and there's people talking they may go for Julio. I doubt that happens. They don't quite have the capital to do that. I mean, they did just get more capital with the Chiefs thing, but I don't think they're making a move for Julio. It's crazy to me. Like, Lamar is your offense is based on running to begin with. Yes, you need a better weapon outside, but you don't need fucking Julio Jones. I mean, I feel like you're wasting him out there. So I would draft Kadarius Toney, 6 foot, 193. He's good numbers, kind of average type guy, but we'll see what he can be. Like I said, I've heard some good things about him. I've seen a few highlight tapes. He's decent. Saints, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Okay, so this dude is falling on my draft. He would get picked higher in a lot of people's mocks, I think. I just don't think the need for linebacker is too huge right now, and he's not some superior talent in my opinion, like a Micah Parsons. Obviously he's going to be really good in coverage, so he's a little bit of a Bobby Wagner in that regard, but Bobby Wagner's more of a savage as well up front. I don't know if this guy's going to be quite that. But I think he has good potential, very good potential, and it's a really good pick for the Saints. But I don't think there's a lot of linebacker need. I think there's a lot of great offensive players in this draft as well, so that's part of why he's falling down here. Again, another guy that's kind of falling, Jalen Phillips. Must be another edge rusher, a little bit on the heavier side. Big boy, obviously, but he's very quick when you watch him. I've only watched, most of these guys, I'm going to be honest, in the 20s. I haven't really watched much, but he's big and he's quick, man. So I think he has really good athletic and body potential. I don't quite know if the form is there, though. We'll see. Asante Samuel Jr., another, NFL player's son, who's going to be picked in the first round, coming out of Florida State, the corner. And for me, he falls a little bit compared to a J.C. Horn, just because, and a Surtain, and a Farley, just because of the height. Obviously, you have the upside of him becoming kind of like a Chris Harris or the dude that was at, Chris Harris from Denver. He's with the Chargers now. He could be like that, but I think the heights, that's the only thing that scares me a little bit. 31, Ravens. This was the Chiefs pick. They traded, obviously, and now they have this. And you trade Orlando Brown, I feel like you're going to replace him in some way. You have to. So why not get this huge dude out of, he's like 6'6", dude. This guy's fucking huge. He's like 6'6", 340 out of Alabama. Alex Leatherwood, the senior, I think it's a decent pick. Obviously, the technique's not great, but he's kind of like, he reminds me kind of like the dude from last year that the Jets picked, Mackay, and so it's possible, but he's that type of size. And then finally, we got the Buccaneers, who literally could pick anything. Their team's fantastic, and I just think, though, why not just put another guy in rotation on one of the lines and go O-line, get the kid Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State. I've watched him play a lot, obviously. I think he's very underrated, and I think it's a good pick. So, anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I will be releasing more videos at some point. I can't give you an exact date because I truly don't know. But I do plan on kind of reforming the channel, changing things around, and trying new things. So I hope you guys enjoy, and if you did, please leave a like, and I will catch you next time.